Let's go ahead and discuss the timing belt on the 1.7, and it also applies to the 2.0 series of the Renault Alliance and Encore. The 1.4 has a timing chain, and the 1.7 and 2.0 have what's called the rubber belt. And you can see that. There's the rubber belt, along with the lower idler and the upper idler. Lower idler is adjustable. Top idler is not. What usually happens to these things is very common. Is these idlers coming from the factory weren't that good to begin with, and the dealer had a package. It was a box, and it had the belt and both idlers in it. And what you're supposed to do every 50 to 60,000 miles was to replace all the components, so you wouldn't have anything go bad. Now, this is one of my sitting cars, and I'm going to change this right away. In fact, I'm not even going to start it before I put a new belt and new idlers on, because as when I got it, the previous customer had no idea, the previous owner had no idea when everything was changed. Here's another common mistake, which is the guys, oh, I just replaced the timing belt. Well, the biggest problem is not the belt, it's the idlers per se. What will happen is you'll smell smoke for about half a mile, and then the engine will just shut off. No warning, just stop. Only to find out that you bent the valves. Now, this is an interference motor. So this is the way it was made, came out of the factory. Honda did the same thing, and a couple other manufacturers did. And when their timing belts broke, customers were livid. Unfortunately for the series of Alliances, by 1987 it was all sold to Chrysler, and Chrysler said, well, if it's not underneath warranty, we're not going to do anything about it. It's up to you. I've heard bills of up to $1,500 and more for another motor, and or to resurface the valves, replace a piston, that type of thing, plus a gasket set, plus new idlers, plus this. Now, all this can be had for maybe $150. It's not that expensive, and you should do this religiously. Every 50,000 miles, replace all three components. If you do not, you will be a sad sack, as we say, because most likely, the idlers will freeze, your belt will run over the top of the idler, creating the smoke, and then snap, there goes your timing belt, plus a bent set of valves and or a hole in the piston, which ended up throwing a lot of these cars away. It's a very reliable motor to an extent where if you service it as a customer was required in the early 80s, you will be successful. But if you choose to ignore it, or you just don't know, don't be stupid and say, well, it'll go another couple months, it'll go another couple months. We have horror stories from people in the Renault club, and thousands of owners have thrown the car away simply because it was too expensive to repair. So that's the trick to the idlers and the belt, is you must replace all the components every 50,000 miles. The original idlers might go 50,000 miles before they squeal or just freeze. The original belts should go 100,000 miles, should. But like I said, most people choose to replace the timing belt, not knowing that the biggest problem is your both idlers, upper and lower. So that is an explanation of what they've been doing wrong for many years, and hopefully when this is changed, I'll make a video of that too.